Boom. Headshot.
And headshot it is. Welcome everybody. Today we'll be talking about Caitlyn, the sniper girl. Well, let's get started. Okay, so let's have a look at runes. First off, you will always want to go precision, but then your main rune can change really often. First off, fleet footwork is probably the best overall option ever, since it gives you sustain in lane, and you being a really early dominant champion, you want to have that sustain so you can play aggressively. Other option is obviously lethal tempo, which you will use if you're playing for the late game, which with Caitlyn is really strong too. So you will be switching between these two. If you're not sure, just go for fleet footwork since it's much easier to use. Then you will always want to go for presence of mind, since your ultimate is quite a strong damage out has a has quite strong damage output, and your mana will be probably drained really fast if you're using your traps and Qs, and well, but that's basically everything. You don't use your E so often, but it's a nice sustain for mana. Next, we got the Bloodline, which Caitlyn does not rely on attack speed so much, obviously, as many other ADCs she does really heavily, but not, for example, that much like, for example, Vayne. So you just want to get, again, that sustain and play that for the late game when you may get into trouble, possibly. And lastly, you always can go for coup de grace like with every ADC, but since you are one of the lowest health champions in the game, at least in the early game, because then items can change everything if you want to have fun, I would recommend cut down. Since first off, it overall deals more damage through game, because coup de grace only triggers once enemies are lower than 40%, and cut down will be active every time. So not even when you're against tanky matchup, I would usually go for cut down, since you will be dealing a lot of damage to ADC since level 1, unless it's a Vayne and she has health as low as you do. Anyways, next we got secondary runes, and there I always go for the basic, which is sorcery with Nimbus Cloak and Gathering Storm, which is basically an like main option nowadays. If you would really feel like doing so, you can obviously go for magical footwear with biscuits. Even though I'm not a big fan of this, since the abilities the sorcerer gives you and the mobility damage is just so much more useful. So that is about that. And lastly, you just gonna go for attack speed, adaptive force, and armor or magic resist depending on matchup. And that is going to be everything for the runes. I'll see you in the game. Okay, so first off, there's nothing to talk about in summoners. You just always want to heal and flash, unless many assassins, then you take exhaust instead of heal, unless your support does so. For the items, it gets a bit more interesting. Your first option is obviously Dorn's Blade, but as I was saying, if you use Skull, oh, well, I was not saying before, but you have really low base health. And if you're going to use the cut down, then using Cal is more advantageous because they will have more health just by default, and now it's 80 more. So if you are going for the cut down rune, I would recommend Cal more. Also, in the early game, you will be healing more from it since attacks restore free health, as it writes there. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Anyways, until you get more than 100 AD, you Skull will be more advantageous than Doran's Blade, all together with every attacks. It doesn't matter what you hit, even if you hit a ward, you will still heal those 3 health. So this will probably be your starter item together with Health Potion. For more useful items, you got basically two options. First one being, and usually, oh my god, I'm sorry. First one, and usually the one I will recommend, is going to be Gale Force. Since it is an auto attack reset and with your headshots, it works really great. So this one is the one I would recommend, since you already have one kinda bad but still a dash, and this is another option. If you think that you can't play with Gale Force and want to have simple game, you can obviously go for Immortal Shield Bow instead to get the healing. But keep in mind that it also increases your HP, which is not a bad thing, but you're going for cut down. You're there to kill everyone and not be touched. So I would probably recommend Gale Force more. Next one is also really simple. You want to get Berserker Graves, since you still, as I was saying, your oh my god, attack speed is important for you. So you got either Berserker Graves or anything else, because Berserker Graves are the best. For your second item, it gets a bit more interesting. While the new changes to the Infinite Edge basically forces you to buy it as your third item, not including boots. So since it's max 60, you will need to get something before that, otherwise it's almost useless. So well, you got two options. It's either Storm Razor or Rapid Fire Cannon. You already have high attack range. So Storm Razor for that slow is really nice in my opinion and works great with Caitlyn. Then obviously you will get an Infinite Edge for that giant amount of damage. And then you will get the Rapid Fire Cannon for engaging shots. And as about the last item, it really depends on your preferences. If you want to be executing people with your ultimate, go for the Collector. If you need to get rid of high healing on the other team, go for Mortal Reminder. A lot of tanks, go for Lord Dominics. It's really game dependent. Only thing I will say, if you would like to get Guardian Angel, get it only if you're really ahead. Because otherwise, once you get, once it gets triggered, yeah, once it gets triggered, you will probably die once you are revived. So only if you are ahead. And I will, right now, I will take more reminder because it's cool looking. Anyways, that's probably going to be it for the items. Let's look at abilities. So, first off, your passive headshot. As you can see, I already have few shots ready. Every sixth shot you fire will deal a bonus damage scaling with your AD. Currently, it is 700 because I'm max level and everything. But if you use your other abilities, you're able to deal more than 1000 damage with one basic attack, which is really strong. And as I was saying, you charge it up with every shot you fire. So right now I have it ready, and the next attack I fire will be fucking 900 damage. If you are standing in a oh, oh, cool. If you are standing in a bush while firing, it will get 2 stacks instead. So that was a waste of time. Anyways, that is everything to your passive. Really powerful, want to use your attacks often. Now we get to your Q, which is your first maxed and first picked ability. It is a really long range skill shot, which deals a high amount of damage to the first enemy hit, and only I think 40%. Yeah, and 40% to every 60% to every target behind the first one. It is a great tool to use to execute enemies in lane, and has a really nice thing to it where you can clear waves if you need to. Also, if you are starting and are not quite capable of reaching the lane, you can use this to get the melee minions. Next, we got your W, which are your traps. I have no idea. Well, you will lay down a trap. It stays down for approximately 50 seconds. It scales. It starts on 30 seconds. Yeah, I'm right. So if an enemy would happen to, well, enemy champion would happen to step on one of these, he will get revealed, and if you and you will get a immediate passive stack against him. So as you can see right now, I can hit him with my passive. Also, the range is doubled. Same thing applies to your E if I would happen to forget about saying that. So if they happen to step on it, you are very easily able to punish them. You just have to keep in mind that you can't allow enemies to trigger you by stepping on them on purpose. It's very easy to get when they're doing that. And that is going to be everything. You obviously want to use some of these to cover important, for example, objectives. When you are going to do the Drake, you probably want to put few of these here. Always, and I mean always, have some on yourself. Don't just lay down 5 traps and wait for someone who actually tries to go through here. Because first of there are many other options to get to the Drake, and secondly, you want to use these in fights too. So always save some for later. And lastly, we're getting to your E, which is again uh, low range skill shot, which is also a dash in the other direction of the shot, as you can see right here, and applies the passive stack. Combining these two together with your passive and everything, we'll get to that later in combos. It's really neat, good escape tool, good chase tool. You obviously can use it to get near to enemy, but most often, if you are in range to hit them with your net, you usually want to hit them since it's bonus damage on them. So it's really neat. And this ability is that attention. You will be up, getting that second and upgrading class because the damage is not so awesome and it's just a utility spell. Unlike just as the Yordle Snap Trap, but Yordle Snap Trap will give you additional traps on almost every upgrade, so you want to get that second. And lastly, we get your ultimate, which, well, there's no need. It's just a point and click ability, which after, what is the timer? Second? I'll tell second and a half, will fire a awesomely powerful shot towards an enemy, which tracks them if they teleport, do anything, and their allies can block the projectile. So, da-da-da. He was saved. Anyways, that's everything to your ultimate. All I will say right now is that it is obviously a great execute ability, since it deals high damage and can track the target on long ranges. But don't be afraid to use it early, because when you're in a fight and you die, you won't be able to use it. But if you start a fight and they don't even have to engage. Enemy champion doesn't even have to engage for you to use it. If you're, again, I will be talking about the dragon, you are preparing to get the dragon and just spot a random jungler or ADC trying to get near, just use your ultimate and you have possibly uh, deleted one enemy from the target, from the fight. Oh my god. Because right now, as you can see, it deals about 1000 damage. So if you damage an ADC, they will be quite low, and getting into fights as ADC when you're low is really dangerous, and they might not even join the fight. So it's a really good tool, and you shouldn't be wasting it just to get some kills after the fighting is over. You can kill enemies much quicker and get full damage early on. Now we could get into some of the combos. So first off, really easy thing is if you prepare some trap, you got easy burst. For example, here in the bush, you can be standing right about here, waiting for someone. They walk in, step on the trap, you Q them, auto attack them, and then use their ultimate. As you can see, it was 3500 damage. This is obviously without any armor, but it's still a nice burst. Other is, I wouldn't really call it a combo, but we are going to because this is my video. Uh, Basically, it's just you will use your E in any direction, for example, to dodge some skill shots, even though Gale Force is better for that because it's much faster, but you won't always have Gale Force ready, right? So use your E to dodge a skill shot, but most often to chase an enemy, and then use your Q to first off reduce the what is it called? Basically the time you're stuck in an animation and to engage. So let's say I'm really far away, I'll use my E, Q, and possibly executing enemy with 700 damage. Next is quite easy one, and that is when enemy happens to step on your trap while you're in lane. So probably you will be putting them in these bushes when you have some engaged support like Thresh trying to hook you. So let's say that this was here for a while and he stepped on it. You want to auto attack them. I messed up, give me a second. So you want to auto attack E, Q, and like this. It's auto attack E, Q, auto attack. So that's the again the highest damage output in low time because your Q reduces the time you're stuck in your E. Other option is when you're just fighting, so you will try to put down your W, hope that they will step on it in the fight, and it will be your W, auto attack, Q, auto attack, and ultimate, and they should be dead. Other option is do it in the order like this, and my Q didn't trigger. Well, anyways, like this, yeah, like this, and then you can cast your ultimate if you need to. Next, and I will probably do this somewhere else, is when an enemy is chasing you. This is basically your escape tool. You will put down a trap, EY, Q, and put down your W, the second down. Yeah, the second down. So if they will try to go for you, they will have to go either alongside away or basically just give up the fight. One more time, you wanna put down your W, Q, E, W again, and possibly shot them if they are still going for you. And there are a lot of combinations. You obviously can use everything. So for example, well, I will describe this after I'm done. Basically, this is the full potential you got. Basically, you wanna put down both of your traps, then Q, auto attack, triggering the first headshot, E, which will automatically trigger your second headshot. And once that's triggered, your trap will root them for the second time, and you will get off the first headshot. So one more time, like this. And that's everything for combos. Let's have a look at gameplay itself. So you will usually try to keep the wave somewhere in the middle, since you can easily kill minions under your own tower, but you don't want to get pushed in because of your early dominance, and you want to push the dominance. You don't want to give enemy level advantages or anything. So just try to keep the game kind of stale. Depending on your support, you can choose what will you do next. Uh, Also, another thing, don't use your Q every time it's ready. I see this so often. People just throw it out every time they can, not even dealing the full damage to champion, just kind of hitting them together with minions, and they are then forced to play under enemy's tower, being opened for the ganks. About the W, I was already saying, don't waste it to just protect yourself, keep it for the fighting purposes. And same even goes for E. Use it when you are sure that it will have some value to it. And that's about it for laning. You just want to survive and get advantage. In mid game, you just want to farm. Like, obviously, when there's something important going on, you will come. But that your main part in mid game is to get those XP, get those items. Because in late game, you will crush. So in mid game, try to farm. Late game, you should be already on 5 items, let's say, and you should be basically walking with your team, preparing traps, and once enemy are trying to get to the objective, burst them down. You have very good tools for that. And yeah, for support, obviously, Caitlyn works best with champions who have some kind of fruit or stun, which are most of the champions in the game. But for example, probably best uh, support to play with her is Morgana, thanks to her super long root. Where even better is if you get root from your W, then Morgana roots the enemy, and then you are able to lay down the second trap like I was showing over there in combos. So you are dealing so much damage to them that they will be CC'd for the whole time of the fight. Also, things like Lux work, where she obviously can root them too. Some other nice CC champions who you work well with. Yeah, Pantheon. Pantheon is really good because he also has really high early damage and can protect you with obviously his E, but you're there for the stun. Because when he stuns them, you put down your W, and then Pantheon doesn't have to worry about chasing them because they're standing in one place and he can finish them off easily together with you. You may be able to get the assist, but you know Pantheons. Anyways, that's going to be everything for the Caitlyn. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you in the next video. Also, this video is supported by our new sponsor, Subscribe. So if you would be so glad and visit their site right below the video on the big button called subscribe. Please help me, I have no friends. See you next time. Petri out.